questions for you, and then we're going to actually take some questions from the audience. If that would be okay, I'd like to ask some questions that I think everybody would be interested in. Are you all up for some questions? Questions and answers. First thing I'll ask, everybody kind of give me a little tale there and tell me what you think. What was it like when you all were filming Satan's Children back in '74? Like, for instance, when they asked William Shatner, he was like, I got a job for a while. So just kind of tell us a little bit about the whole process of filming, how it got started, and when you were asked, hey, do you guys want to be in this, and the script and everything, how it got going.
Okay. All right. Somebody's doing it.
Okay. Well, the auditions were at USF. I was a student there. John was a student there.
I was a student
there. Yeah, and there was a long line outside the faculty building,
and we were all young, and
it was fun. It was a lot of fun to see it on the big screen.
And wanted to have a career in acting, and so here was this movie, and so we decided, all of us, to just do it. You know, so I mean, 40 years later, we are sitting here and watching a movie that we did when we were very, very young.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Tell us about Joe. What was he like as a person and a director?
He was very sweet. He was very nice. I know after I bit that gross capsule with the blood, I wanted to do it again. And he said, no, it's perfect. And later I found out he was saving film.
I gotta come over and join you all.
Joe on Willie's Gone, which was the first film that he did. And it was just a pleasure to work with him. And most of all, I like scaring the hell out of him, because every chance the effects crew got, we tried to scare Joe. And it worked.
Nothing? It is what it is. There you go. What about, tell us about your roles. Who wants to start? Just tell us a little bit about
Sherry.
Yeah.
Kathy Archer was, she was doing her final piece. She had a one-woman show, and I was happy to be working with her. She did a lot of nice stage work at USF. I know, but I was lusting after her, so that was kind of cool, that it was somebody that was, you know, that was a good actor. I mean, it's hard to tell, but this was.
I absolutely had no idea about gang rape whatsoever.
You spanked my ass.
I had no departure to draw from. And so actually being in that car and that scene as it was being filmed was actually hilarious. I mean, you know.
For you.
For me personally, because I mean the camera was set upon the hood of the car, and we were actually driving on the road with lights and all of us in the car, and so I mean it was great fun. It was great fun.
For you.
And right, acting. It was merely acting. Right, I wasn't in whitey-tighties, so I mean, you know.
Neither was I. You know, there's a famous song. Kathy, who are the people that do that? Yeah, you do. There's a note in the song that goes, I'm wearing tighty whities and I'm smuggling plums. And that's what I always thought of when I seen that scene. So now, that could be your theme song.
No, I was naked.
Now, what about you, Steven? What? What were you thinking about when you were doing that? Are you going to do an old, what's his name from Star Trek? He said, what was I thinking of? What time is lunch? That's what I was thinking of. Well, when you first read the script, I mean, come on. You read the script and you went, what did you say?
They didn't show me the script.
They didn't show it to you?
No.
They just said, come over here and act?
Yeah. They gave me pages before the day because they were afraid I wouldn't show up.
When you finally got them, what did you say? You're like, I'm gonna walk.
It's a job.
There you go, it's a job. Anybody else? John?
Yeah, I had a script. I thought it was a rather interesting part to play. Devil worshiper. I've never been one of them. And it was a job, an acting job. I've not done that much acting yet, but that's what I wanted to do. And so the opportunity to be in a movie was great. Yeah, it was terrific. So chance to do it. It was only 3 days of shooting, but
For you.
and so it was great. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fact that I was going to get hung. And they had all this great makeup. I had my tongue hanging out, everything. And then they filmed it. It was so dark you couldn't see it. I was kind of ashamed. But I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. I actually got to see it in a theater about a few months later. That was cool. And then I didn't see it for years and years and years until it came out on DVD. That was kind of, surprising to see it show up on DVD 25 years later. I wasn't even sure it was the right movie when I saw it. Satan's Children. I said, wow, that could be any movie. I wonder if that's the one I was in. Sure enough, turned out to be. So that was kind of cool too. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a good time doing it.
The thing is too, John, nowadays a lot of people, a lot of filmmakers, including myself, will shoot on video. And you can have the movie out at the end of the week if you want. But we're talking about in the 70s, you're going to film, and then you have to edit and film, then you have to splice with splicing tape. And it didn't come around until getting a transfer to many years later. So yeah, unless you guys had wrapped the film, had it all cut together, edited, put on a reel, and got together to show it somewhere. Otherwise, if that didn't happen, you're the actors, and you're like, if all of a sudden it disappears, you don't know what happened to it, and then all of a sudden it reappears, someone's picked it up and has released it on a DVD.
And then 40 years later.
Actually, when Roe called me and said, do you remember Satan's Children? I went, and I went, oh my God. And she said they're doing a premiere of the movie 40 years later. I immediately actually called my ex-wife, who at the time was in the movie. And I was like, I said, Casey, remember Satan's Children? And she went, no. And she was actually billed in the movie, and she was part of the cult film. Yeah, part of the cult and playing volleyball and all this stuff. And actually, one of the things that she actually said was, she said, are we getting residuals? I said, I don't think we got paid. She didn't even remember being in the movie, but much less, she wanted to know if we were getting residuals. So, I thought that was pretty funny. And 40 years later, to come to light after so much time, it's really quite interesting and humorous and amazing that actually this little film that came to light in the 70s when we were all so very young and burgeoning actors and actresses looking to find our way and make a career of acting, that we all decided to do this movie. And it's actually very wonderful in a bizarre kind of way that we all sit here now talking about it. So it's like Stranger Things Ripley's Believe It or Not. We are here, and it is there, and you all saw it, and you actually are still here.
Well, John, I have a question for you. Because the effects, the ant attack and the quicksand. Tell us about that. Because, I mean, the ants, you know, and then the quicksand, and especially when you kicked the other guy into that was awesome. Tell us a little bit about that, whipping that all up and everything, the ants and the quicksand.
Well, the ants were real. I had my 2 helpers out on railroad tracks looking for the largest African ants we could find. Okay? And as anybody who's ever been bitten by an African ant knows, it's painful. So we played around with it a little bit, and if you look closely, you can see that the ants are really on her face. And they're moving. They're not dead. Through a little experimentation, we figured out how to stun the little guys so they wouldn't bite. Okay? Now, at the end of that shoot, which was horrible for the poor lady, I mean, she was really a trooper. And by the way, she's sitting in a chair with a piece of plywood around her neck, and then the dirt filled in around her. So it wasn't as horrible as, we didn't really bury her alive. Actors hate that. As well as being hanged, they don't like that either. But anyhow, so at the end of the day, I'm gonna turn the extras loose, all the ants. And Joe says, no, let's keep them over the weekend just in case. Well, we were keeping them in a potato chip can in the motorhome, which was our base camp. I put them in the can, put the top on, went home for the weekend, come back Monday, and there's a hole in the potato chip can that they drilled from the inside, and they'd all escaped into the motorhome. Never saw them again. Fortunately, we didn't need to round them up again, so. But that motorhome, I'm sure, is in shambles. The quicksand, a friend of Joe's by the name of Rob White lived out west a lot, and he had seen real quicksand. And it was his estimation that the closest thing he could think of was oatmeal. So that's what we tried. We bought up 50 cases of oatmeal, which at the time in North Tampa was just about every case of oatmeal that existed. And we went to work and dug the pit, filled it up with the oatmeal. We had 2 problems. Number one is it was an active cattle ranch. The wind shifted. The cattle got wind of the oatmeal and decided to come in for lunch. So the 2 guys working with me, I had to send them off to herd cattle. And if you listen real closely, you can hear mooning in the background. The other thing was Newton's law of buoyancy, because when they went in the pit, they wouldn't sink. So we had to put cinder blocks after they fell in, so they wouldn't fall on the bricks.
How'd you get that marshmallow effect? I mean, it looked like marshmallow.
It's opium.
Special effects man's secret.
Yeah, no, it's opium. Anyway, so we had to put cinder blocks in there. And so once they were in, they could pull themselves out. And they actually did go all the way under. Man, it was a mess to clean them up. Oh.
Oh, very cool. I want to ask you all the same thing. William Shatner has asked about Star Trek. They said, did you ever think, and in your case in 40 years, that this would you'd ever be sitting here and saying, hey, people are checking this movie out, they're watching it?
Absolutely not.
You never thought for a minute, you never said, you know what, someday.
Never.
That's the same thing William Shatner said. What am I going to be doing next week? The Star Trek thing's going nowhere. So really, when you just do it, you're having fun, you're having a blast doing it, it was a lot of fun, you enjoyed it, you enjoyed each other's company, and it was done, you're like, whatever. Never thinking that, hey. Wow. Well, here they are.
Yeah.
What about some of your favorite moments on the set when you guys were there? Anything like, I don't want to always say like someone says, did you play any jokes on each other? Because it's so cliche, but anything you remember from the set that was funny or just things going wrong? Or one of those days where you guys were just like, oh, why am I doing this?
Well, I do remember that after they did the big volleyball scene, and they had everybody out there for that the assistant cameraman actually opened one of the magazines and got a little light leak in there, and they had to reshoot that whole sequence. So that was not good. When you don't have a budget.
Yeah.
It had to be the day when we had everybody out there.
That's kind of like in Jaws, the boat started sinking. And they said, save the actors, and the cameraman said, screw the actors, save the film. Because the boat was going down. Anybody else? Anybody have any memories? Steven, nothing? Last night you were talking my ear off. You were like, put me in a headlock, and you said, Earl, listen to my story, and I'm going to tell you everything. And tonight you're not telling me nothing. Do you want to put me in a headlock again? I don't mind. Nothing? Dave?
Well, I mean, for me, I think my favorite aspect of the movie and the two scenes that I was in, I love being killed. I thought that was great. I mean, because it was so cool that we had to do it in slow motion, and the effects that they had with strapping onto you and you know, being shot, and you had to assimilate being shot by a gun, you know, and not really do. I love that part. And then seeing it actually on film, I thought it was very cool. So that was my favorite part.
I like the whole process. I like the process. I'd never done a film before, so just sitting and waiting or doing a scene with someone who's not there, you know, because in theater, you know, you're looking and listening and reacting, but you're doing this thing, no one's there, and then that was, and waiting, hurry up and wait, you know. I thought it was really quite amazing to drive all the way to Gibsonton to a warehouse, you know, and the set was like the same set, just kept on being dressed differently with different pictures hung on the walls, which you probably noticed. So that was, you know, it was a B-C flick, G. But I like the process, and watching, you know, Joe work and everybody work, and yeah.
Very good.
It was fun, but I don't remember a whole lot of specifics. I know those were the 70s.
It was the 70s.
So if you can remember it, you weren't really there. So yeah, I don't remember a lot of specifics, to tell you the truth.
Well, Rosemary, I have a question for you. How about, can you tell us about the scenes in which you're hanging from the chain in Satan's dungeon, which has become iconic, and when you choke on the blood and are pushed into the lake by Sherry? Tell us a little bit about it.
Every scene I did, I wanted to do again, and I couldn't, because it was perfect. That's what Joe said. I was on a cinder block, And I was hanging, and of course I wanted to be really hanging. So, and there was nobody for continuity, which if you looked at Simon's cigarette, or Tipperillo, sometimes it was long, sometimes it was short, sometimes it was shorter. I would have loved to have somebody pull my bra down while I was hanging there. Especially since I saw that image over and over again.
Well, I'm sure there was a crew member going, yo man, hey, do you want to tell her to pull her bra down? No, shut up, man, I'll beat your ass if you tell me that. I'm watching.
But the actor is in the moment, you know, so she's not thinking about her bra. She's like, So I felt like I was really hanging. I was into it, you know, I'm an actor, I was into it. So.
And then the blood, the whole...
The blood was disgusting, and I was really gagging. I was
really?
Yeah, I was like, and that's why I said I want to do it again. Now I know what to expect, and it was like, no, I like it. Oh, I know. Everything was one take. Yeah.
We were talking last night. I think it was Steven. You were telling me that it was a lot of the cartridges from the film. It was the end. It was like the end of the reels. Was that, you know? Yeah, that they would use. What was left over. Oh, from the Sting? Wow. Oh, ASCAP, I'm sorry, I forgot. That's cool. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the movie with Ed Wood when he would take the stock footage and just throw it everywhere. And Irwin Allen did the same thing in Land of the Giants, and Lost in Space. I pull the strings, pull the strings. Well, anything else, Rosemary, from that?
No.
That's your crew?
No.
But it was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed doing it, and I loved writing. I sometimes would go with Simon because we had scenes together. See, I never shot anything with David or. Yeah, no. Well, sometimes we were on the set together, though. We were there together, but not a lot. Yeah, but Simon and I, he had a convertible, and we would drive over there together, and I thought that was pretty cool. 'Cause he was older.
Isn't that something where I for years worked with Debbie Rashan. We were in the movie together, but we never met each other until we finally did For Christ's Sake over in Sarasota. That's something. It's like, oh, we were there. We didn't even. Or we're in this together. I didn't even know that. Well, Steven, what about? Can you tell us about what it was like filming the final rampage scene, which is really cool when you just go nuts with that shotgun, shooting the gun, and also sawing the body parts off. I told my wife, I go, the next shot we do for Slasher Weekend, screw it. I'm just gonna blow some light on the characters, and we'll squirt water out of a hose, and we'll say that's the blood gushing. It's a lot easier. When you went crazy in that scene, which was awesome, and how did you prepare for that? I mean, were you really like, yeah, whatever? Were you like, man, this is gonna be cool, I'm gonna get that gun and boom, 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 go nuts?
That's all editing, because they're separate.
Well, don't give the editor credit. Don't give the editor, because I knew an editor, and he goes, well, it's the editing that makes everything good. Oh, really? Tell it to Pacino. You know, he sucks, and it's all the editing, you know?
It's true. Completely different shots, and
But you had rage in your face, man.
no.
You were like, yes, you did. Did he have rage in his face or what? Was there rage in his face? He's like, take that, man. Say hello to my little friend. Steven made that up. Say hello to my little friend. Steven made that up.
No, it's just editing.
Yeah, it's not just editing. It's cool acting.
No, I was there.
You're gonna lose that argument. You guys are great. But no, I mean, did you think about it? You didn't think about it at all. You're just like, I'm just gonna take this gun and point. Yeah.
Well, now I think about it now. I should have
like those
shot at
MFers.
I should have shot at the hip.
You should have shot what?
At the hip.
Shot from the hip or at the hip? Boom. Oh, we were talking about that last night.
Yeah. That would have been better. And sawed off.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be cool. Little Clint Eastwood action going on. Go ahead, make my day.
Well, I did.
Now, John, you have a quick and sudden death scene and the crucifixion. What were those moments like filming your death scene, and how did you prepare for your role as Joshua?
I prepared for the role by, thinking about what it would be like to be a Satanist and, trying to take it as serious as possible. But
You want me to slap Steven over the head? He's going into convulsions.
yeah, sure, slap him over the head, But, you try and take it as serious as possible, what it was like to be a Satanist and get that guy, crucified.
Seriously?
Actually, I wasn't crucified, I was hung. But I like that, the scene where they take the rope and drag me off, and that kind of stuff. That was kind of fun. The praying was a little long, I think. Please bring Simon back and all that. But, you do it and you commit to it. Some of us do, obviously. Some of us don't. But yeah. So that's what I did.
Very cool. David?
Yes.
Tell us about your demise. Did you have a squib attached to simulate the gunfire?
Yes.
Bobby here.
Yes. And as I said, that was my favorite part. And coming back to just the reality of making the movie, we were also very young, very inexperienced, and we were all there just doing what we were learning and trying to hone in our craft, to be good actors and to pursue our careers in performing arts. So, it was an opportunity that we all took advantage of. Some of us got paid, some of us didn't. And it turned out to be a very good experience. What you don't know, you learn, and you go on from that, and now again, 40 years later, it's rather humorous to be sitting here and going over all of it. So, thank you.
Now, what about when you took the shot, you took the actual bullet, same thing I was asking Steven, were you thinking about your head, how am I gonna,
Yes.
is he like banging, you're like,
Oh, no, there was, I personally had preparation in my mind's eye about, the velocity of the bullet hitting me and where my body was going to project and
do you
all
want me
of
to
that
hit
stuff.
Steven? Do you want me to hit him again?
No, that's okay. He's, he's doing his own thing. It's okay. So, I think we can, say thank you again and good night.
What about all the Indians? Are you okay? Am I wearing you out?
No, I think we're done, right?
Dave, do you want any more questions? Okay. Well, does anybody have any questions in the audience? How about that? Can we do that? Is there microphones down there they can step up to? Oh, yes, great.
The audience has questions.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
How long did it take to shoot? Yeah, just holler.
That is the professor.
I got one.
Okay. The Tampa Art Institute. 10 days.
I found the shooting script.
What are we doing now? We're all doing something, I'm certain, different. I'm curator, artist, international artist actually, exhibiting my artwork. Recently moved here to Tampa again to tend to my mother, sister, and wanting to institute an international nonprofit art organization to continue my work. Ro.
I currently work as an adjunct professor at UT and HCC. I direct and perform at theater companies around town, Stageworks and different local companies.
After this, I went on to do some acting here in Tampa in a theater company called the Alice People with Rosemary through the 70s, and then in the early 80s I quit acting and I now work for Oracle and computers.
I retired from doing special effects work in 2001 and went back to school at the University of Texas and became a forensic facial reconstructionist.
None of your business.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
When do you start shooting the sequel? Satan's grandchildren.
Satan's children for all. Look at that. Anybody else? Go ahead.
This is a question for everybody. Through the Loom, Hanes or BBDs?
That's for him.
For everybody.
Don't remember, he says.
None of the above.
Anybody else? Yes, yes.
Yeah, the movie's kind of has like a pro-satanic message to it. Who wrote the woman's story? Did you have a writer?
Joe wrote it, right?
No.
Oh, no.
A couple of guys.
Were you aware that it's kind of like pro-Satan?
How could it be pro-Satan when it's anti-gay? I mean, you know, how could it be pro-Satan? You know, anti-gay. I mean, you know, when you look at the actual...
Well, you're trying to make sense of it.
Yeah, I would say it was all for entertainment purposes. I don't think anything was looked into it
I don't think it was that
closely.
In the end, he becomes a Satanist and he protects the...
Well, you think that.
Didn't here's a page.
You don't think that's happening?
Yeah.
No, it was a trick. It was a trick. He did that to start up a nudist colony and then move on from there. Anybody else?
Who did the music?
Yes. The music.
Anybody know who did the music?
Lead Feather.
Heather, I think, and you might remember too, that Joe's son was playing the guitar. Yeah, so it was the director's son.
And he works at, Joe's son works at WUSF, and he's musical director for at least one show that I know.
Name's Perkins.
Yeah, Jack Perkins show on WUSF.
Once a month, and he does the music.
Yeah. What else he does over there, I'm not sure, but I know he does get credit for that one show. And I think he had something to do with Lead Feather.
Anybody else? Yes, in the back.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm glad I got to see this movie. It definitely deserves its place in the canon of Florida-lands horror films, like Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, etc., etc. And I'm just wondering, like, why was it unreleased, distributed for so long? We also got a question for Rosemary. Were you the only death? Was your death the only death in the film where you're killed by Satan?
Well, oh, I see, because I wasn't hung or something like that. It was the power, because I was, I was lying, and because I wasn't truthful, because I did have those feelings. I guess so, yeah.
Simon didn't kill you so rapidly. It was Satan's hand.
Yeah.
Marcus, I'm going to smash your face in later. Any other questions?
What's your thoughts on the whole phenomenon of so bad it's good movies and general,
Well, it's surprising the hell out of me.
It's great. It's great.
So bad it's good,
It's
you know.
great fun.
Yeah.
It's great fun.
I came from Colorado for this.
And was everybody entertained tonight? Did you have a good time? Hey, we're gonna have the cast go out front. We're gonna come down, go out front. They got a table out there. We got some pens for them so they can sign. If you want to buy copies of Satan's DVDs, they're going to be at the table over there in the corner. We're going to have them all lined up. You can sit down, talk to them, come by, say hello. And if you pick up, I don't know, some posters or some movies, come over and I'm sure they'll be happy to sign them. Am I correct? Yep. Are you all right? Are you ready to go out front?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.